SCP-3787. The Horse Meme. Object Class: Archon. Foundation Containment Committee Notice. Because the anomalies associated with SCP-3787 continue to change over time, its documentation appears here in chronological order. All observed changes to the properties of this anomaly will appear as addendum material. Only the most recent version of this anomaly's containment procedures is viable. The original 30th of June 2021 documentation is as follows. Retracted archived containment procedures. Foundation personnel within the Parazoology Division currently operate in various tiers of the U.S. equine industry. This measure exists to ensure 1. That horse breeding continues as a controlled element. 2. That further progression of the anomaly can be mitigated. Analysts are to track domesticated horse populations for anomalous behaviors, such as uncharacteristic or unprovoked aggression, deviance from feeding habits, and deviance from natural breeding cycles. Known feral horse populations are to be monitored for abnormal activity. To maintain the well-being of baseline horses, personnel are to avoid sterilization efforts within current populations and any restrictive actions taken to manage overpopulation. Instead, personnel are to disperse hormonal agent 76298816.7 within horse populations. 76298816.7 targets horse endocrine systems to promote docility and extend breeding cycles. No known means of containing SCP-3787 Theta exist at present. The Site-82 Operations Command Office is, however, accepting containment initiatives. Keter Class remains the classification of this anomaly until satisfactory levels of containment are met. Description: SCP-3787 is a deviance of the natural behavior of domesticated and free-roaming horse, Equus ferus cabilis, populations in the southern and southwestern United States. SCP-3787 manifests as a gestation period 8 to 10 times more rapid than the baseline horse breeding cycle. Within affected mares, the baseline gestation period of 11 to 12 months shortens to 30 to 45 days from conception to birth. As a result, up to 10 times as many foals are born. Growth rates of this size are unsustainable and constitute a significant risk to the equine's industry ability to maintain control. The breeding cycle does not adversely affect pregnant mares or resultant newborn foals. Newborn foals exhibit physiological properties similar to their non-anomalous counterparts. Foals also develop within pregnant mares despite lacking the necessary sustenance over the accelerated developmental period. SCP-3787-1 is an anomalous increase in horse aggression in free-roaming horse populations. Examples of aggression include unprovoked hostilities towards horses outside of a constituent pack, the active killing of most or all members of a feral horse pack by that pack's dominant stallion, the cannibalization of foals as a show of dominance. Increase in horse hostility has also extended into normal horse feeding patterns. Feral horse packs affected by this anomaly perform organized attacks on other wildlife, escalating to a point in which affected horses ignore herbivorous feeding habits. These attacks occur even though the horse jaw structures and digestive systems are biologically unsuited for meat consumption. This manner of aggression has contributed to the advancement of horses to the top of the food chain in many areas. SCP-3787-1 began in newborn foals affected by SCP-3787. It has since transferred to an unknown number of horse populations of various ages, according to a geometric infection model. In addition, this anomaly is developed in the same period and area as a mimetic form of equinophobia. Footnote 1. The fear of horses. Designated SCP-3787 Epsilon. SCP-3787 Epsilon is an intense fear of horses and humans without previous basis to do so. Researchers hypothesize SCP-3787 Epsilon manifested because of a marked increase of horse population numbers, which caused an increase of equine concepts in the human consciousness. Persons may be unaware they have been affected by this anomaly until their re-exposure to the concept of horses through forms of media or personal conversation that reference horses. SCP-3787 Epsilon occurs in suburban areas, urban centers, and within populations far from rural communities. More specifically, SCP-3787 Epsilon occurs within populations with little access to the equine. Footnote 2. Domesticated stud farms are an example of a resource unreachable to populations in these kinds of communities. Populations interested in thoroughbred horse racing remain unaffected. An estimated 750,000 persons within the continental United States have contracted this anomaly. Addendum 3787-1 SCP-3787 Update. On the 30th of June 2021, Foundation efforts to reduce the heightened equine birth rate were successful. The median horse gestation period leveled out to approximately 1.5 times the baseline. In the 2 months since detecting the anomaly, more than 450,000 new horses were born in the United States alone. On the 12th of July, Parazoology Division personnel observed what they hypothesized was an anomalous illness spreading throughout domesticated horse populations. Horses affected by this illness experienced a period of acute stress and entered a comatose state. In 18% of instances, affected horses later expired. An estimated 37% of horses in the southern and southwestern United States have been afflicted with this illness. As of the 29th of August, research efforts into a vaccine have proved ineffective. Addendum 3787-2 Project Dire Horse. The accelerated spread of this illness has caused the death of approximately 1.1 million horses in the United States. In response, Site 82, in conjunction with the scientific department, has published 2 reports on Project Dire Horse to the international SCP-FN network. Summary of Project Dire Horse. Project Dire Horse outlines the production of a significant horse population and the dissemination of the new population across the United States. This is to be conducted to mitigate the ongoing loss of horse populations and produce a phenotype resistant to the effects of the anomalous illness. To achieve this goal, Dire Horse has employed the use of Ashley's Fields, a cattle farm in Newton News, Montana. Ashley's Fields has been working under the Foundation front company, Stratford Cattle Production, since 2010. Ashley's Fields uses an industrial farming facility responsible for the mass production of synthetic livestock in place of modern farming techniques. Dire Horse will use the Rimler-Lister Hippological Simulacrum, or RLHS prototype. The RLHS can produce 500 artificially grown adult horses, or 1,000 foals, per 6-hour period, with 99.91% genetic similarity of their natural counterparts. Horses produced by the RLHS undergo behavioral engineering and mimetic hardening to reduce the potential effects of an SCP-3787-1 spread into its population. In a runaway equine extinction event, the RLHS and its Sentinel facility at Ashley's Fields can store up to 100,000 stable horses in cryogenic storage for up to a decade. To reduce general awareness of the full spread of the equine illness, Dire Horse is to promptly begin replacing horse populations in 35 U.S. states. Any expired horses affected by SCP-3787 are to be collected and transported to Site 41 Monastic Production Facility, ALIF, for decommissioning. The Anti-Memetics Division, Procedure Mnemosyne. Decommissioning Report. This file is classified Level 4, 3787 clearance. Unauthorized access is forbidden. To prevent environmental contamination, expired SCP-3787 affected horses are undergoing decommissioning detailed as follows. 1. A network of Foundation web crawlers is to conduct mass media blackouts by purging any verified news reports on SCP-3787. 2. Foundation personnel planted in the U.S. equine industry are to track all areas affected by mass die-offs. Expired horses identified during this process are to be removed from affected areas on an immediate basis and transported to Site 41, Facility ALIF for neutralization. 3. A randomized pool of 1,500 expired horses is to be stored for future testing. Neutralization efforts will operate with the end goal of destroying all expired horses affected by SCP-3787. Per procedure Nemozyme, destroyed subjects are to be broken down into multi-component slurry to begin the transformation into Class W monastic material. Footnote 3. A primary component of modern monastics is an admixture of various parts of horse anatomy. Marnes L. 1976, Glue Huffing and Dutch Occultism, Why the Best Bad Ideas Are Seldom Forgotten. Understanding Antimemetics 1, 393. This aspect of Project Dire Horse has been seized by the Antimemetics Division. Footnote 4. Data lost. Addendum 3787 3. Incident Report 41 Aleph 2021 246. On the 3rd of September, hostile anomalous entities attempted to force access into Site-41, Facility Aleph, during Procedure Nemozyme. A transcript of the encounter is as follows. Video log. Note: because of the high volume of antimemetic anomalies on site, all cameras at Site-41 are outfitted with a Marriott-Pashler antimemetic perception filter. For identification purposes, anomalies corresponding with this description are outlined in red. Begin log. 1:04 a.m. A large wheel-shaped anatomical mass, automatically marked in red, appears near Site-41. The anatomical structure disables a surveillance pylon at 55 km per hour. Security alarms whine, and the mass charges towards nearby Facility Aleph. Mobile Task Force Chi-10, Oxygenated Morons, a 3-member fast insertion unit operating a light strike vehicle, or LSV, outfitted with an M2 heavy machine gun, approaches the pylon to investigate. The mass notices the task force and mimics freezing behavior, whinnying as it shudders. Chi-10 lead Garter. Easy there, girl. You're a stunner, aren't you? Chi-10 Cassis. Who are you talking to? Ugh. Turn on your filter, dumbass. Things are about to get hairy. Chi-10 Cassis fumbles with his gear before activating a filter in his helmet. Holy shit! Chi-10 Azalea. Can our weapons even hit that thing? I mean, it's antimemetic and the ammo's not spell-coded or anything. What if it passes right through? The mass slowly transforms into a ball and expands. Clever hypothesis, Azalea. Well, find out for us, will you? Azalea fires at the mass and punctures its outer layer, which emits loud equine vocalizations. A tan equine entity separates from the larger mass and gallops towards the task force. I'll consider that debunked. She repositions the M2 and focuses on the entity. Cassius reverses the vehicle and circles the mass in a broad arc. The entity matches velocity and chases the unit for an extended period, then latches itself onto the back of the LSV. The larger mass remains stationary. Azalea expends 150 rounds at the entity. The entity breaks apart into smaller portions that each continue to animate, implanting themselves into various places on the vehicle to squeeze inside. The LSV ceases operation. Alright, everybody out. Let's haul ourselves up before that thing decides to attack. Mobile Task Force Chi-10 exits the LSV and travels into cover and out of frame. The visible entity squeezes the rest of its body into the vehicle. Equine vocalizations continue. Soon after, the larger mass reaches a diameter of about 3 meters and moves again, this time rolling towards Facility Aleph at an immense speed. It collides with the facility, causing structural damage and disabling the video feed. Audio surveillance continues. Site systems log the activation of an automated anti-intrusion and disorientation system, illuminating the area with high-powered 1000-watt floodlights. Audio surveillance registers a sharp equine vocalization, loud at first but eventually receding into silence. End log. 1:26 a.m. Closing remarks. The next morning, site security launched an investigation on the premises. Security personnel found the equine entity trapped within the LSV, its form blackened and shriveled. Neutralization by prolonged exposure to intense light. Foundation cryptozoologists have launched an investigation into these newly discovered equine entities. Addendum 3787-4 Investigation. Foundation personnel specializing in antimimetic training have noted the emergence of large numbers of antimimetic equine entities. These entities, designated 3787-N, appear en masse as a direct result of extended Foundation efforts to control U.S. horse population numbers. Archivists note, this conclusion was derived based on the short time span between the conclusion of Project Dire Horse and 3787-N appearances near common horse populations. A comprehensive description of these entities is as follows. 3787-N is a collective of predatory semi-humanoid equine entities. Each 3787-N instance is composed of malleable cartilage integrated with groupings of musculature typical of horses. One defining feature is its horse-like cranium, which consists of a muzzle capable of equine vocalizations. Naturally occurring braided horsehair is present in the form of a mane and tail. Each strand of hair is autonomous. 3787-N efforts to control hair movement often appear labored and seem unsuccessful. Though 3787-N possesses dull, rounded teeth, it has been observed to engage in carnivorous activities and consume humans, albeit rarely. Instead of feeding for sustenance, instances choose to hunt for recreation. All 3787-N appendages are capable of contorting, elongating, and wrapping around themselves. In acts of defense, 3787-N will balloon its body outward. Instances will also mount one another, combining in tandem with the formation of wheel-like anatomical structures to use their collective body mass as a moving vehicle. When this occurs, velocities of up to 150 km per hour have been observed. Sightings of 3787-N occur in nocturnal settings. 3787-N is a pack predator, appearing in groups ranging from 5 to 50 instances. These groups typically manifest near domestic or thoroughbred horse farms and feral horse packs. 3787-N display a strong revulsion to most forms of visible light and experience physical damage on exposure. The task force's commanders at Site 82 advises any personnel in the vicinity of 3787-N instances to carry any form of light-based weaponry available. No other means of damaging 3787-N have been observed at present. Containment analysis at Site 82 have come to infer a complex relationship among the appearances of 3787-N and previous equine anomalies. Analysis conclude that the emergence of increased equine aggression and accelerated birth rates was, in part, a widespread anomalous defense mechanism tailored towards the repulsion of 3787-N. Current reports show that this behavior has almost reversed, in part because of the emergence and influence of 3787-N, which horses now act subservient towards. Research Director Elliot Alces has approved the reclassification of SCP-3787 to an Archon class anomaly. Footnote 5 designates anomalies that can be contained but ought not to, because of the damage that would be caused by doing so. The Foundation is presently undergoing wide-scale internal research efforts focused on the anomalous nature of horses as a species. Since the appearance of 3787-N, horses in the United States have deviated from their typical behavior. Footnote 6. Horses produced by Project Dire Horse have, however, maintained their design behavior. Almost all observed horse populations display SCP-3787-1 and attack humans, causing civilian casualties beyond Foundation control. In areas with a significant volume of horses displaying SCP-3787-1, domesticated and feral horses alike have begun a mass transit to an as-yet unconfirmed area in the American Southwest, led by groups of 3787-N. How the two groups communicate is now under active investigation. 3787-N have directed efforts towards constructing a large equine-centric locale composed of both horses and 3787-N populations. Contact by any non-equine populations has led to confrontational behavior on the part of 3787-N. Foundation personnel managing the effects of SCP-3787 also face aggression. In some instances, personnel have undergone bodily transfiguration into horses via inexplicable means. Addendum 3787-5. Further actions taken. Mobile Task Force Pi-5, Glue Factory, has formed to repel the attacks of 3787-N. Each member of Pi-5 is trained to deal with antimemetic anomalies and is assigned a strict Class W monastic prescription. A summary of Pi-5 Alpha Platoon is as follows. 40 combat operatives with light-based weaponry, such as the 1000-watt N62A laser optics pistol, the 2000-watt G1A tactical solid-state laser rifle, and the prototype 30,000-watt Bazov Prokhorov RX-7Z hard light heavy rifle, Null Taker. 4,000 lumen flashlights and interfaces with night vision and blue light eye protection lenses. 15 Polaris MV-800 all-terrain vehicles outfitted with light reconnaissance laser optic gun platforms. 10 Chenoweth utility terrain vehicles, 4 SLSX support drones, fitted with Mariette Pashler antimemetic perception filters. Despite the formation of Pi-5, the full containment of 3787-N and any related anomalies is not yet possible because of their widespread nature. The Foundation is now directing efforts towards reducing the fear of horses. Thank you for listening to SCP-3787, The Horse Meme, by Lieutenant Flops. If you enjoyed this SCP, please like and subscribe, and follow the link in the description of the SCP Wiki, and vote it up to support it and the SCP Wiki as a whole. Also, a special shout out to Last of the Four Horsemen and Powerless for signing up to be members. If you would like to get a shout out on Fridays, please donate to Ko-fi or become a member on my YouTube channel. And in addition, for the YouTube subscription, you get a special Saturday video as well.